Have you ever gotten that feeling? That prickly sensation on the back of your neck like someone's watching you, even when you're sure you're alone? For me, that feeling became a reality one moonless night. I used to be an avid night jogger. The quiet streets, the cool air, the city sleeping around me, it was my sanctuary. I'd run the same loop every night, a familiar 3-mile circuit through my suburban neighborhood, past sleepy houses and the dense, dark woods that bordered the local park. One night, everything changed. I was about halfway through my run, my sneakers slapping a steady rhythm against the pavement. The only light came from the occasional street lamp, casting long, distorted shadows that danced at the edge of my vision. That's when I first saw her. Up ahead, maybe 100 yards or so, was the silhouette of a woman. She was walking in the same direction I was running, her pace slow and deliberate. At first, I didn't think much of it. It was a little unusual to see someone else out this late, but not unheard of. I figured she was just a neighbor getting some fresh air. I kept my pace, expecting to overtake her in a minute or two. But as I got closer, I noticed something strange. She was wearing a long, old-fashioned dress that seemed to shimmer slightly under the faint streetlight. It was the kind of dress you'd see in a black-and-white movie, not on a suburban street in the 21st century. Her hair was long and dark, cascading down her back. I closed the gap between us, my breathing starting to feel a bit heavier, and not just from the run. I was maybe 50 feet behind her now. "Excuse me," I called out, my voice a little louder than intended in the dead quiet. "Passing on your left. It's the standard runner's courtesy. Usually people will glance back, maybe give a little nod, and step aside." She didn't flinch, didn't turn, didn't even seem to register that I had spoken. She just kept walking that same steady, unhurried pace. I slowed down a bit, suddenly hesitant. Maybe she had headphones in? But her hair was pulled back just enough that I could see her ears were bare. No wires, no earbuds, nothing. I decided to try again, a bit closer this time. "Hello? I'm just going to pass you on the left." My voice cracked a little. The air suddenly felt colder. Again, no reaction. It was like I was invisible, like my voice was just being swallowed by the night. A sense of unease started to creep up my spine. My jog slowed to a walk, and I found myself matching her pace, keeping a safe distance. Why wasn't she turning around? It's a natural human instinct. You hear a sound behind you, you turn. It's that simple. But she just kept walking, a solitary figure moving through the pools of light and shadow. I followed her for what felt like an eternity, though it was probably only a few minutes. We passed under another streetlight, and the strange shimmer of her dress caught my eye again. It wasn't just the fabric. It seemed to ripple, almost like water. My heart was pounding in my chest now, a frantic drum against my ribs. All my rational explanations were evaporating. This wasn't normal. We were approaching the darkest part of my route, a long stretch where the streetlights were few and far between, and the woods pressed in close to the road. The trees were tall and dense, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching out towards the sky. A primal fear, the kind you feel as a child when you're scared of the monster under your bed, started to take hold. I had two choices: turn back and run home the way I came, or push past her and finish my loop. My pride, or maybe just sheer stupidity, wouldn't let me turn back. I had to get past her. Taking a deep breath, I broke into a sprint, determined to just blow past her and not look back. I pumped my arms, my legs churning, my eyes fixed on the path ahead. As I drew level with her, I couldn't resist the urge to glance over. I had to see her face. I had to know who this strange woman was. And that's when my world came to a screeching halt. The moment I looked, she finally, slowly, began to turn her head towards me. The movement was stiff, unnatural, like a rusty hinge creaking open. Her long, dark hair swung away from her profile, and I braced myself. But there was nothing there. Where her face should have been, there was only a smooth, blank expanse of skin, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, just nothing. A perfect, featureless oval. I swear, my heart stopped. A scream was trapped in my throat, a choked, silent gasp of pure terror. I stumbled, my legs turning to jelly, and nearly fell flat on the pavement. I scrambled to my feet, my mind screaming at me to run. I didn't need to be told twice. I sprinted. I ran faster than I've ever run in my life, fueled by a terror so profound it felt like my soul was trying to leave my body. I didn't dare look back. I just ran, the sound of my own ragged breaths and pounding heartbeat filling my ears. I didn't stop until I burst through my front door, slamming it shut and fumbling with the locks. I leaned against the door, hyperventilating, my body shaking uncontrollably. I stood there for a long time, trying to process what I had just seen. It was impossible. A hallucination? A trick of the light? But it had felt so real. The blankness of her face is seared into my memory, a terrifying image I'll never be able to erase. Just as my heart rate started to return to something resembling normal, I heard it. A sound from outside, drifting through the closed door and the thick walls of my house. It was a voice. A soft, whispering voice, but it was crystal clear, as if it were right next to my ear. It seemed to be coming from all directions at once, echoing from the trees, the street, the very air itself. And it was calling my name. "Why did you run?" The voice whispered, a chilling, ethereal sound that didn't seem to belong to this world. It was a woman's voice, but it had a strange, hollow quality to it, like wind whistling through an empty cave. My blood ran cold. I backed away from the door, pressing myself against the far wall of my living room. How did it know my name? I had never spoken it. I hadn't seen this woman before in my life. "You saw, didn't you?" The voice continued, its whisper growing slightly louder, more insistent. "You saw what's underneath." It wasn't a question. It was a statement, a cold, terrifying fact. "Now you know the secret." I sank to the floor, wrapping my arms around my knees, my mind reeling. What secret? What was she talking about? I didn't want to know. I just wanted it to stop. I covered my ears with my hands, but it was useless. The voice wasn't outside anymore. It was inside my head. "Everyone wears a face," the voice echoed in my mind. "A mask to hide the emptiness. You saw mine. What does yours look like?" The whisper faded, leaving behind a silence that was somehow even more terrifying. I stayed there on the floor all night, too afraid to move, too afraid to even breathe. When the sun finally came up, its warm light streaming through my windows, the terror began to recede, replaced by a deep, gnawing dread. I've never gone for a night jog again. I haven't even been able to go out after dark. Every shadow looks like a waiting figure. Every gust of wind sounds like a whisper. Sometimes when I'm alone, I can still hear it, that hollow voice asking me the same question over and over again. And sometimes when I look in the mirror for a split second, I'm terrified of what I might see looking back, or rather what I might not see. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever had a creepy encounter you can't explain, let me know in the comments. And be sure to subscribe for more chilling tales. Stay safe out there.